is Colville Mounsey from Nation News, covering the after effects of the La Soufriere volcano in St Vincent. I am here currently at the North Union shelter with Mr. Camman Greene, who is the manager of the shelter, and he's going to give us a brief overview of how life has been here and how a person's holding up under the circumstances. Mr. Greene, welcome and thank you for speaking to us.
No problem. Well, so far I'm not going to say it's the best, but we have a set of strong individuals in the shelter and we are trying to cope. Being how much? 6 days? 7 days now without water, it's a really hard task. Fortunately, what was it? The third day after the eruption, a person who camped here in '79 eruption reminded us that, I should remember, that there was a spring in the back of the school, down by the riverside, clean water. So we were able to have person going down there and getting some water to shower and things like that. But that continued up until yesterday, the first time when the water truck brought us some water, right? So I mean, I'm hoping that things can go forward better in terms of the water collection here. I've realized some parcels were broke down. I mean, you could see the vent at times. Also, you could see they kind of distance themselves from others. But they're trying every little way to try and make things look as normal as possible.
So you were telling me about the living conditions. The water is an issue. What about the children? How are they holding up at this
I
time?
mean, you always have children being the type of entertainers. I mean, not studying what actually is the reality of what is happening around them. But I mean, the condition in which the children have to live, this is something I'm not pleased with all the dust around, and then we don't have water to keep it down. You know what I mean? It's really hard because I was told by the nurses that are here that we have a fair amount of horses with respiratory problems, and I believe that is going to get worse if we don't have water. Well, I've asked the parents them to make sure keep them out of the dust as much as possible, keep them inside as long as they can. But the children are spirited. They are really spirited, and it's a good sign. But the condition for them for healthy life is not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we are dealing with a disaster
Yes.
in the middle of a pandemic.
Uh-huh.
How are you ensuring that persons stay healthy? How are you ensuring that persons maintain social distancing? How are you able to do that in a shelter that is communal in setting?
Okay. Well, in the first instance, in the initial stage, I mean, it was a problem. Everybody just crumbling all together because you have to intake as much pasta as you can because it's a disaster. I mean, and I think the first instinct for me was to take as many pastas as I could in the shelter. As things progresses and we start changing up the system, especially when it gets to coming for lunch and breakfast and things, it's all everybody packing up together because we had limited amount of lunch coming in because we had in the initial stage, the first day, it was James P. Foundation who stepped in and rescued us for lunch and breakfast. Then the second day, I think it was the CAPSEC who did that, and then because of that, the catering and so, it was really a crumble at the lunch room, right? But for now, we are basically providing for ourselves, using cooks in the shelter. So I spoke to them when we started doing that and asked them, look, we have enough lunch now, we have enough breakfast now, let's come in small amount, right? You don't have to rush, right? So they start abiding and doing that. So that is one way we cut down on the amount of person socializing at a specific place at a particular time, right? Mass, I mean, it's really difficult to have them wear masks. We're giving them masks, but every now and then you're going to see them patrolling the compound with the masks and so forth like that. Hand sanitizers, water is not here to keep the hygiene, so a major problem. So most of the time you're going to see, because if you check around, if you have time, you'll see the dust all over the place. So we don't have water to clean up, we don't have water to keep the hand tidy, to keep the face tidy, so that we can cut down on the amount of risk in terms of COVID thing. But we are trying, but mostly important that people are trying. We're not totally there to keep social distancing.
Okay. What about, are you doing regular testing? Is regular testing being done here? And also, what about vaccinations?
Vaccination, the relevant authority came in, we provided information to them about vaccination. I believe Porsos are little back. They are backing away from the vaccination process. I mean, they have their own beliefs concerning vaccination, and that is something I can't infringe on Porsos' beliefs and rights. But in the camp so far, I think we have recorded about 8 persons vaccinated so far.
Only 8?
Only 8. And we went around and asked who are willing to do so, but no one. Okay. They're not willing to get the vaccination.
Wow.
In terms of temperature check and so, what we do the random check. I mean, because of time, we normally go and check, and we didn't have nobody to flag it. If we have any high temperature, we flag them and we keep monitoring them. But we don't have anything on a person like that yet. However, in the initial stage, we had a family who was on quarantine. We provided them the necessary room and support like that, but they were all given clear now.
No, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot when I ask this question. It is not my intention to be political in any sense, but yes. do you get the sense that there was a level of unpreparedness, given the Soufriere song that it's warning since last year?
Yeah.
Do you get the sense that there was some unpreparedness in this exercise?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, it's not putting me on the spot, it's the facts. We were not prepared for this. I believe they were forces were slighting the magnitude of the destruction that this eruption brought. But I mean, in the first 3 days, I mean, I almost broke down because to see how parcels were living and coping, I mean, it was really hard for me to watch parcels basically without water. You had the Saturday when all the dust was blowing, you have the fancy blocks, because if you notice, you have some plastic there, right?
Right, the breeze blocks.
The ash was falling heavily, constantly all day, and the dust was just going into the classroom. You have children, elderly, have to deal with that, and it was really a hard task to see people like that. But fortunately, you have the government organization there, Braxton. They brought some stuff to block up the fancy blocks. Them, look, if you check down there, it's only about 6 pieces of ply, and look at the amount of fancy blocks there. Right. But there was a private donor at the same day that they came, but because they reached out to me. But I can't remember the name now. They're on the records. They brought some of those hard plastic. And fortunately, Braxton was there, the company that deals with that, put them up at the same time.
Okay. And just for the benefit of our viewers in Barbados, when he says fancy blocks, those are the blocks that we commonly refer to in Barbados as breeze blocks, that provide ventilation for classrooms, similar to what you have in schools in Barbados. Mr. Greene, my final question to you: as you battle this situation, I am sure that there has been some philanthropic outpouring from private citizens who have been, all too willing to help. What has that experience been for you in terms of the donations and so on that you have received?
I mean, it's really great. I mean, it's overwhelming. It's a good feeling to know that we still have some humanity, right? As I said, James, he was the first person to reach out. Then you have persons in the community asking for whatever liquor they can have, give. I mean, someone asked me to post, someone asked that they post something that something on the Facebook page that will ask people for things that we can block up the louvers, the fancy black so, and then right after that all kind of persons reaching out, and that was really good. I mean, persons bringing every liquor that they have, and it is really good, and it is benefiting the sheltery here.
But the night, we came down here, and we did together here and whatsoever. So me go run the night now, run down the step there, to me fall, go right down on my foot.
Where were you staying, living? In
Ovia.
Ovia? Oh,
yeah,
you live in Ovia?
Ovia, far.
Okay.
Every time was for the Soufriere.
Right at the north, yeah.
They say that people go up there this morning, and they say we cannot go back up there, this village up there really do the discourse.
Okay.
Real bad, so we can't get to go back up the road.
Okay, so how you feel about that, that you can't get back to your home?
We feel bad because I know we're ready to go home back, but we can't go.
Wow.
We can't go back up there for now because they say we have a couple months here before we go back up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you handling it mentally? I mean, how are you handling it mentally?
Well, in the evening, the day before, they come and they say that we must move out and just walk with 2 little copies of thing. But the night now, when the evening comes, we just grab 2 little copies of thing. We don't have much clothes.
So you didn't get a chance to prepare?
We don't have the chance to prepare nothing. Yeah, so you know, just grab 2 little copies and just move out. Yeah.
Again, I really wish you all the best. I can't even pretend to understand your pain.
Yeah.
You know, but how big is your family that's in the shelter with you?
Me and my family are just 5 of us in the room. Me and my daughter and my 2 granddaughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be part of the indigenous population up there, the Caribs and so on up there?
Yeah. The Caribs up there, yeah.
Okay. How long have you been here at the shelter, Mr. Brown?
Well, so far I'm okay, comfortable. The management team is okay. I'm also part of the management team assistant, even though I'm a vacuum assistant where possible. The only problem though which they are trying to have under control is the water, which you know is that island wide. But I think we are trying to get there because the authorities brought in a large plastic container, so they're using there to actually get water to bathe and flush the toilet, and we put souls water in our back of water first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, apart from the water scarcity, which has been a general cry throughout all of St Vincent, except maybe in the Kingston areas, etc. Mentally, I mean, with persons not knowing what's the status of their home, or if they have a home to go back to, how are persons coping mentally?
People are very concerned about going back because you know that the asphalt was very heavy. It is worse than now because at the time I was young, about early 20s at the time, 1979, right? Compare 79 to now, it is more terrible in terms of asphalt. The ash is very thick and some persons are concerned about the status of the roof. They are also concerned about looting because some persons actually stay back to get into people's house to steal and take away whatever they have.
Okay. And in terms of how you are interacting, given the fact that of course people are aware of COVID being in existence, and we have a disaster in the middle of a pandemic. how are persons trying to maintain and keep themselves safe from that?
I want to pull the mask down to actually, like the song maybe clear. I think we are very mindful about spreading the COVID because people actually putting on the mask, wearing the mask. So I just want the world to excuse me because I just want the song to come out clear and then we're buffering. That's why my mask is down like this.
I'm sure they understand.
Yeah, they would understand.
Yeah, so persons are doing their best to keep safe.
They're doing their best. People who get up in the morning and have the place clean out and so, and make sure we go to a spring to have a shower, and people are doing that. Getting everything in order.
Alright. You experienced 79, and you said you were in the 20s at the time.
Yeah.
What are some of the similarities and differences
Okay,
from
it
two
was on
eruptions?
Friday. It was a Good Friday. And I'm telling you, I'm giving part of my personal experience. That morning it was kind of overcast. I was hearing sound coming from the mountain. In our mind, we thought it was a rainy morning and we thought it was thunder. I left my home and I was going to look after my animals. And then I can't remember exactly how my mother got the message to me. All I could remember when I got back into the house, I picked up a cup, 2 pieces of clothes and tied in a towel, something like that, and across my shoulder. And I head up the road. The last thing I remember is that I got on a bus. That time we used to have the wooden bus. The bus was named Mona Lisa. I got on there, when I look around, it was dead. No room again, but people was trying to make room. We got as far as an area called Barbados. I stayed there and then about midday, there was this explosive eruption. It was like a cauliflower going up in the air and turning over. I was very scared and wondering what to do. And eventually we run. I did not sleep in Bible that night. I went up to an area called Belmont. And the person whose place I went, we stayed up and looked because we couldn't see the mountain range. And during the night we were able to see the fire on the mountain and so during the darkness we were able to visualize what was going on. And from there I went down to an area called Calico. And I got into camp. We were taking it was a laughing stock for some of the posters, but during the week they got a heavy shower of ashes and stone. Then they realized this was something really effective. But this one day, it really caught us. It's really effective, especially the ash fall.
Now my final question to you. You have been chased out of your home twice now in 42 years.
Yeah.
2 eruptions. Do you think you, like yourself, many people have the resilience and the strength to go back and rebuild when this is all over in that same area?
I believe so, because that kind of 79 look back, even though I try not to show my panic, because I was on the ground in my area trying to mobilize people back in my area, so I kind of keep calm and trying to calm other person, okay, be still and take it easy. So I think we will be able to bounce back. Okay. I think what will happen is that the farmers, they know that, okay, it will take some time to relax. So I think we fully understand the consequence.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing, Mr.